I've been in love with Chen Shi for 12 years, watching him change girlfriends one after another. Just when everyone thought I could make him settle down, he blocked me for another girl. A month later, he knelt down in a sea of roses and asked if I could give him another chance. I pulled out a bright red wedding invitation from my bag and handed it to him with a smile, saying, "I'm getting married next week. I hope you can come." 1. Chen Shi sent a message in the childhood friend group chat. "Tonight, let's meet at the usual place. I have something to announce." Zhao Xiu, his closest friend, teased him. "Oh, so formal. Are you finally settling down, the king of the sea?" This wasn't the first time such a joke had been made. Before, Chen Shi would laugh and tell him to get lost, but this time, he simply replied, a single light word, yet it was like a massive boulder dropped into the water, stirring up waves upon waves. The once quiet group chat suddenly exploded with activity. "Holy crap, did I read that right? The jerk is finally settling down. Has our Weiwei finally seen the light after all this time? Let me analyze this. Chen the young master hasn't been in a relationship or even been flirting lately. The leading lady must definitely be Weiwei. I knew this guy was different with Weiwei. He never used to hang out with girls before Weiwei came back. It's no secret that I like Chen Shi. Just like how his exceptions and favoritism towards me are blatant and known to everyone, Chen Shi didn't say anything further, as if he was tacitly acknowledging everyone's teasing about us. And it's true, all these years, even though he changes girlfriends quickly, I'm the only one who's always been off limits. Anyone would have thought that my wait had finally paid off. 2. Chen Shi had organized the gathering, yet he was the last to arrive, accompanied by a shy little girl. The little girl's delicate hand tightly clutched his sleeve, her big eyes scanning the room with a clear, curious sparkle, like an innocent fawn straying into human territory, just like me 12 years ago, when I was first brought to the Lin family. The group of people who were laughing and playing suddenly froze, staring blankly as Chen Shi pulled someone out from behind and embraced them. "Let me introduce you to my girlfriend, Xia Yangyang." His gaze never left Xia Yangyang as he spoke. His eyes were filled with an unyielding tenderness, perhaps sensing the awkward atmosphere. Xia Yangyang shrank into Chen Shi's embrace, looking a bit nervous. Zhao Xiu was the first to react, letting out an exaggerated laugh. "You've been keeping this pretty well hidden, huh? When did you get a girlfriend?" In the midst of our conversation, he kept glancing at me. Although he tried to hide it well, after knowing each other for so many years, I could immediately sense his concern. Over the past few years, Chen Shi has been flitting among the flowers, changing girlfriends every now and then, but he has never formally introduced any of them to us. What his action implied was clear to both sides. Chen Shi affectionately ruffled Xia Yangyang's hair and smiled. "We've been together for over 2 months now. Yangyang is a bit shy, so don't scare her." 12 years ago, it was the same group of people, the same words. "Lin Wei is quite shy, don't scare her." Back then, I had just been brought back from a small village in the south to the Grand Lin family residence at the heart of the capital. I was ostracized and mocked by everyone for my poor Mandarin. It was Chen Shi who took my hand and helped me integrate into their circle. That year I was 14, and the boy who smiled so brightly, dispelling all my confusion and fear, became my light. 3. Emotionally, they might be closer to Chen Shi, but whether they liked it or not, I was the only girl among them all these years, and the one who was expected to blossom with Chen Shi, afraid it would upset me. Everyone's reactions were subdued. The scene fell into a momentary silence. Xia Yangyang bit her lip, her eyes slightly red. She nervously tugged at Chen Shi's arm, her voice trembling as she whispered, "Brother Shi, is Yangyang not welcome?" Hearing her address, I frowned slightly, feeling a bit physically uncomfortable. Chen Shi, in his teens, would often play pranks on me by sneaking up from behind to surprise me. He would either snatch something from my hand or pull out the hair tie I used to tie my hair, then hold it high, forcing me to call him Gidge. Only when I blushed and reluctantly called him Gidge would he return my belongings. Back then, he hadn't yet shed his youthful innocence and still found other girls' coquettishness annoying. Chen Shi was about to comfort her when a glass suddenly shattered in the corner. It turned out to be Lu Xiang, who has always been at odds with me. Lu Xiang's handsome face was stern, his voice filled with anger. "Chen Shi, what the hell have you been treating Lin Wei as all these years?" Chen Shi's expression darkened. and after scanning the room, his gaze finally landed on me. Then, with lips barely parting, "I don't know if you've misunderstood something, but I've always seen Lin Wei as just a sister." For, what a line, just a sister to me. I wonder if he forgot. Last year when we gathered for the New Year's Eve dinner, Zhao Xiu bought firecrackers and called him to go light them. He slouched beside me, laughing. "Nope, I'm staying with our Weiwei." Someone nearby teased, "When did Weiwei become yours?" He threw a satsuma over, laughing even harder. "She always has been. Weiwei is my childhood bride." In just half a year, he could look me in the eye and say with ease that I was his sister. I placed my hand over my heart and gently pressed it. It hurt. It was uncomfortable, but not nearly as bad as I had imagined. Instead, there was a sense of relief, as if the result had finally arrived. It was like when I was 14, and I sent my favorite magazine a short story I thought was particularly good, but I never received a reply. One day, 12 years later, the magazine sent me a reply saying my novel wasn't accepted. I would only think calmly, "Oh, I see." It turns out that the initial passion and dreams had long been worn down during the long wait. My feelings for Chen Shi were no different. It's not that I don't love anymore, just that I don't expect anything. So, whatever the outcome, it doesn't really affect my emotions much. 5. Lu Xiang wanted to speak up for me again, but I stopped him. He glared at me, gritted his teeth, and cursed, "Useless," before slamming the door and leaving. It doesn't seem quite appropriate for me to stay any longer in this situation, so I slung my bag over my shoulder and prepared to leave behind him. Just as I placed my hand on the doorknob, Chen Shi called out to me, "Weiwei, come back." I turned back and smiled at him. "Brother, you guys go ahead and play. I'm going to check on Lu Xiang." It was the first time in all these years that I had called him brother so freely. But it was obvious that he didn't seem happy about it. Chen Shi was momentarily stunned, then repeated with a dark expression, "Come back." This time, I didn't listen to him. As I stepped out the door, I heard another clatter of shattered glasses. The door closed behind me, cutting off the noise inside. 6. Going to find Lu Xiang was just an excuse to leave. Although he helped me, I still clearly remember what he did to me in school. He threw a ball at me during gym class, snipped my braid with scissors during art class, hid my textbooks, and put caterpillars in my desk. Gratitude is one thing. I will give an appropriate gift as a thank you, but actively trying to improve our relationship is something I simply can't do. I was planning to go home, but as soon as I reached the gate, I saw Lu Xiang leaning against the wall, smoking. He snuffed out his cigarette and tossed it into the trash can as soon as he saw me return. "I came with Ayu. Are you heading back now? Mind giving me a ride?" I sighed, ultimately unable to bring myself to say no. After 12 years of friendship, this was one of the rare occasions I spent alone with Lu Xiang without arguing. Escort him to his doorstep. He sat still, unmoving. After a long while, he slowly spoke. "That Xia Yang is very much like the you from the past. But so what? Even if she is similar, she cannot become me, and I cannot become her." I didn't want to continue the conversation, so I opened the car door and kicked him out. Ignoring his furious shouting, I gently pressed the gas pedal and turned into the adjacent villa. Our house is next to Lu Xiang's, and Chen Shi's is next to ours. Only the wealthy and influential live here. 7. Just as I parked the car, Lu Xiang called and told me to check WeChat. I opened it and saw red envelopes flying all over the childhood friends group. Chen Shi added Xia Yang to the group, and a few of them were sending her greeting gifts. I also sent a red envelope, and as soon as it was successfully sent, Chen Shi kicked me out of the group in the next second. Shortly after, he sent me a private message. "Sorry, Weiwei, your presence makes Yang uncomfortable. Let's not contact each other for now." I bit my lip tightly, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. After thinking about it, I still replied with a okay, but when I sent the message, I received a glaring red exclamation mark. Chen Shi deleted me. From the green years to the prime of life, 12 years of mutual understanding and companionship, ultimately lost to his 2 months of love. I stared at the exclamation mark, lost in thought for a long time. My eyes felt sore, but no tears would come. Chen Shi from the past would gently pat my head and smile, saying to me, "Weiwei, in this world, no one is more important to me than you, except for my parents." 8. I like Chen Shi, but I've never been clingy or overstepped boundaries. I haven't even said or done anything ambiguous to him. Every time I found out he had a girlfriend, I would actively keep my distance from him. I was afraid that my liking would become a burden for him, but usually, as soon as I distanced myself from him a little, it would upset him. Chen Shi's first love was with my college roommate, a girl who clearly knew all my feelings for him. Later, the two of them appeared in front of me, hand in hand, with the girl smiling brightly. It was as if she had forgotten the girlish secrets I had shared with her. She sincerely thanked me. Wei Wei, thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to win Chen Shi's heart. That day, the wind was strong. I stood stiffly on the tree-lined path outside the library, feeling like a complete idiot. It was only then that I realized she had approached me and befriended me from the start with Chen Shi in mind. I distanced myself from her and also from Chen Shi, as it turned out. Their romance only lasted 3 days. The girl cried in the dorm, and after she had her fill, she looked at me with swollen eyes and accused, "Chen Shi dumped me. Are you satisfied now? I find it quite baffling. I haven't done anything. So why ask me?" Since she asked, I decided to tell the truth. Well, I'm satisfied. 9. That night, Chen Shi dragged me out for a big meal. He teased me with a playful grin. "Little master, you haven't really talked to me in 3 days. Don't be mad, okay Tilda?" I explained seriously, "I'm not mad, it's just that you're in a relationship now, and we should keep a proper distance. It's better for everyone. But, I only agreed to try dating her because you two are close. Whatever Wei Wei likes, I like. Whatever Wei Wei doesn't like, I don't like either." He spoke with righteous indignation. Later, when he fell in love again, he would avoid all girls who had any connection with me. He wouldn't even introduce them to us publicly. But in the upper echelons of Beijing, the circle is neither too big nor too small. It was common for him to run into acquaintances when he took his girlfriend to social events, so even if he doesn't say it, news of his romance will eventually reach my ears through others. During holiday gatherings, someone teased him, "Ashi, you've had so many girlfriends. When will you bring one over for us to meet?" He casually placed the peeled shrimp into the small bowl in front of me. "It's not that serious yet. A few people have contacted me, some pleading and others cursing, all with the same goal, to keep me away from Chen Shi." After it happened enough times, I understood that even if I hadn't done anything, my mere existence was a sin. So when Chen Shi decided to cut ties with me because of Xie Yang, I respected his decision. But why did they kick me out? There's more than just him in the group. There's also my close friend who has been with me for 12 years. The phone kept ringing, one call after another. I hung up and messaged each of them, saying I was fine and not to worry. When emotions are on the verge of collapse, the kindest concern is the hardest to bear. I was afraid I might burst into tears. 10. Over an hour later, Zhao Siyu showed up at our house with bruises all over his face. He slouched casually on the sofa, taking the ice pack I handed him and pressing it against the swollen area. "What happened?" I asked. He sighed. She stirred up a lot of anger and got beaten up. I went to break it up and got hit a few times too. Where are they now?" He moved the ice pack to another spot, probably pressing a bit too hard, wincing in pain. After a pause, he said, "I sent Axie to the hospital." I pursed my lips and didn't say anything more. A few minutes later, Zhao Siyu asked me cautiously, "Wei Wei, Axie is just confused for the moment. We all can see how much Xie Yang resembles. Can you give him another chance once he comes to his senses?" The unspoken part of his sentence was probably about how much Xie Yang resembles the past me. I gently frowned and didn't directly answer his question. "Siyu, I want to go back and see my grandmother." 11. When my mother was pregnant with me, my father's business encountered a major setback, almost leading to bankruptcy. Later, they consulted a feng shui master, and the issue was with my mother's pregnancy. The feng shui master said that I was born with a curse, which would affect my father's fortune. However, by that time, my mother was 9 months pregnant and close to her due date. There was no way to avoid giving birth, so I was sent to my grandmother's house in the south as soon as I was born. My grandmother named me Lin Wei, and she said I was her only treasure. But when I was 14, my grandmother passed away, and I was no longer anyone's treasure. I used to think, at least I had Chen Shi. Even if I wasn't a treasure, I was always his first choice. This doesn't seem too bad, either. but reality hit me hard. 12. During the plum rain season, the misty Jiangnan region is shrouded in a hazy curtain of rain. I held an ornate umbrella, stepping on the familiar cobblestone path. At the end of the road stood an old 3-story building, the home where I lived for 14 years. My mother often said that my grandmother was an old-fashioned stubborn woman. Despite her daughter marrying into a wealthy family, she insisted on staying in the countryside, guarding her dilapidated house. Yet, it was this stubborn old woman who gave me the happiest childhood. The rain was light, and peddlers slowly rode their tricycles through the streets, their loudspeakers repeatedly shouting, "Plum, fresh plums." A woman stepped out of the nearby Western-style building, holding an umbrella, and called out to the street vendor. Seeing me by the roadside, she asked in surprise, Wei, why are you back? It's not the time for the memorial ceremony yet." I forced a smile through my reddened eyes. I missed home. So I came back for a few days. She glanced at the suitcase I was carrying and her eyes softened with pity. "You silly child, how come you came back alone? That old house of your grandmother's hasn't been lived in for ages, and it's been raining these past few days. It must be terribly damp. Why don't you stay at our place for now? Your brother Xingqi is hardly ever home, and your visit would be a great company for me." With that, she directly grabbed my suitcase, took my hand, and happily led me towards the small villa behind her. 13. I was assigned to her son Xu Xingqi's room, watching Aunt Li bustling in and out. I deeply understood what it meant to be overwhelmed by hospitality. I tried to refuse several times, but in the end, she asked me if I thought their home was too shabby, and I gave in. Xu Xingqi's room was very clean and simple. The most striking feature was a massive bookshelf. It was organized with various books, models, and trophies. This aligns perfectly with his image as a top student from childhood to adulthood. Xu Xingqi is 2 years older than me. We're not exactly close. But we're not strangers either. Apart from our shared upbringing, we are also university alumni. At the top university in the country, he was directly admitted, while I only got in because of my local residency. That evening, Lu Xiang called me, over the phone. His voice sounded muffled. "See, you said you've gone back south." I nodded, then realized he couldn't see me and let out an After a while, I heard him mumbling, "Why didn't you tell me? I'll keep you company." I could sense some feelings from Lu Xiang toward me after we both went through our awkward teenage years. I refused without hesitation. "No need, you focus on your work. Be careful out there on your own. I'll handle what I have here and come pick you up in a couple of days." Before I could say anything, he hung up the phone. 14. It rained all night, and surprisingly, the next day turned out to be sunny. I had intended to visit my grandmother's grave. As I opened the gate, I ran into Xu Xingqi, who looked travel-worn. A gentle breeze swept by, carrying the earthy fragrance of the soil. It ruffled the hem of his shirt. Over the years, he had grown from a refined youth into a strikingly handsome man. Xu Xingqi was momentarily stunned, his eyes filled with emotions I couldn't decipher. "Long time no see," he said, his voice as deep and pleasant as I remembered. I smiled at him. "Long time no see. Since the owner of the room has returned, I naturally have no reason to stay any longer." I said goodbye to Aunt Li, and she frowned, pondering for a moment. "You're just a young girl, and I don't feel safe letting you live alone. How about this? Let Xingqi move in with you." Just as I was about to refuse, Xu Xingqi spoke up first. "Okay, let me first accompany you back to clean up." Under Aunt Li's eager gaze, I could only nod in agreement. 15. Although it has been unoccupied for a long time, I hire someone to inspect and maintain the house every year, apart from a bit more dust. It's not too bad. After cleaning up, I sat on the steps outside and started to daydream. The sky, washed clean by the rain, was clear and pristine. Large, fluffy clouds floated across the deep blue canvas. Such a sight is rarely seen in heavily polluted Beijing. Xu Xingqi handed me a bottle of water, and I looked up at him and smiled. "Why did you come back suddenly?" He also curved his lips. "I was tricked back by my mom." "What about you?" he asked in return. There's no doubt that Xu Xingqi is handsome. The warm sunlight bathed him, as if dusting him with a faint layer of golden powder. Behind the thin lenses, a pair of beautiful almond-shaped eyes narrowed slightly, exuding a mix of refinement and wildness. I looked away, thought for a moment, and chose the most appropriate words. Healing. 16. Life in the countryside moves at a slow pace. I gradually got used to living alone with Xu Xingqi in a polite and courteous manner. He is an extremely considerate roommate. Worried that I might be bored, he brought over some extracurricular books to help pass the time. Even more so, he somehow managed to get a puppy. It looked just like the one my grandmother used to have. I crouched down, holding the puppy, and the tears I had been holding back for so long finally spilled over. Xu Xingqi stood silently to the side until I had cried enough, then bent down to gently ruffle my hair. He said, "Wei Wei, have you been wronged?" A phrase that felt very familiar. It stirred up many memories long buried in the river of time. When I was young, I was often teased by kids around my age in the village, called a wild child without parents, and even worse, called a bastard. Every time I hid to cry in secret, Xingqi Shu always found me. He would gently ask me, "Wei Wei, have you been wronged?" Gradually, there were fewer and fewer people bullying me. It wasn't until I saw with my own eyes how Xingqi Shu cornered the little boy who threw stones at me in a dead-end alley and beat him up that I understood why. I used to be really clingy with Xingqi Shu before I left here. Why did we grow apart later on? 17. A few days later, Siyu Zhao sent me a short video. In the video, Chen Shi is clutching a wine bottle, slumped on the ground, repeatedly calling out, "Wei Wei, Wei Wei." Beside him, Xia Yang bites her lower lip tightly, her eyes brimming with tears. Below the short video, there are two additional messages. "Wei Wei, when will you come back? Axie is drunk and keeps insisting on finding you. He's going crazy drunk at Yunhai right now, and we can't do anything about it." Yunhai is the old place Chen Shi mentioned last time, the top club in the capital. One of the Chen family's businesses. Chen Shi rarely drinks, but there are always business engagements. Every time he gets too drunk, I have to go pick him up for him to follow. It's impressive that he can still recognize me in his drunken state. Later, I asked him, "Aren't you afraid of mistaking someone else for her?" He shook his head and smiled. "No, because you are the one and only Lin Wei. It's these small, seemingly insignificant things that have kept my fondness for him going for 12 years. You can only hold on this long if you see hope, right?" I replied. "Don't tell me about his affairs anymore." As soon as the message was sent, Zhao Siyu called. I thought about it and decided to pick up. After all, it wasn't his fault, and I had no reason to take it out on him. "Hey, Wei Wei, actually, Axie hasn't been doing well these past 2 days." Before he could finish, a chaotic commotion broke out. "Axie, don't move around, don't grab my phone." In the next moment, Chen Shi's voice came through the earpiece. Hey, is this Wei Wei? When are you coming to pick me up? I was hospitalized a couple of days ago, and you didn't even come to see me. I haven't seen you in ages." As he spoke, his voice grew softer, and it seemed to carry a faint trace of a choke. "Wei Wei, I miss you." I hung up the phone without a second thought. 18. That night, Xia Yang requested to add me as a friend, saying she had something to show me. I had absolutely no interest in what she wanted to show me, but I couldn't resist her persistent attempts to add me. I agreed after the 20th time. She sent over a picture. On the hotel bed, her long black hair spread out, making her look like a seductive demon. Chen Shi was lying beside her. "Wei Wei sister, me and brother Shi. I know you like him too, but brother Shi only sees you as family and habit. He told me himself that he only loves me. Tonight, he drank and came to find you because he was jealous of me talking to another boy. I hope you don't misunderstand." I looked at her long, rambling message and found it utterly boring. 12 years of emotion ended the moment he kicked me. Not loving wasn't as hard as I imagined. I calmly replied to her, "Oh, I wish you both happiness." 19. It rained for several more days. Xu Xingqi enjoys brewing a pot of tea and sitting at the table by the window, sketching and writing. I, on the other hand, curl up on the sofa with a book. The puppy he gave me curls up quietly at my feet. I named it Pudding. Since the last time I cried in front of him, our relationship has improved significantly. Outside the window, the sound of rain pattered softly. Inside, the rustle of his pen gliding across paper filled the air. Occasionally, there was the sound of me flipping through a book. For some reason, it made me think of a phrase: peaceful times, tranquil years. A sudden, urgent knock broke the silence of the room. Outside the door, Xu Xingqi's neighbor was visibly anxious. "Xiao Kai, your mom just fainted. Hurry home and check on her." Xu Xingqi paused for a moment, hesitated slightly, then stood up and ran out. I quickly slipped on my shoes and followed. Aunt Li has always been very kind to us. When my grandmother was alive, she helped us a lot. Recently, she has been bringing over homemade food every few days. Aunt Li lay in bed, her expression showing no significant abnormality. Xu Xingqi frowned and asked, "Mom, how are you feeling? Should we go to the hospital?" She glanced at me, who was following behind, and let out a long sigh. "I didn't intend to tell you." After saying that, she fumbled under the pillow and handed Xu Xingqi a piece of paper. "I don't have much time left. My greatest wish is to see you get married before I pass away." On that piece of paper, it clearly stated advanced stage of cancer. Xu Xingqi's brow furrowed deeper and deeper. After a long silence, he said, "It might be a misdiagnosis. Let's get checked again in a couple of days." 20. That being said, Xu Xingqi has become increasingly silent day by day. When we were young, he was the one who found me hiding and crying. Now, it's me finding him quietly smoking in hiding. Despite having known him for so long, I had never seen him smoke before. Seeing me, he extinguished his cigarette and waved the air in front of him. I sat down beside him and we just stared off into space together. June is almost over, and perhaps due to my restless mood, it feels like this summer is much hotter than usual. "I came back this time because my mom said she was sick," he said slowly, looking up at the sky. "But when I got home, she dismissed it with a joke. I thought she was lying to me too. I didn't know how to comfort him, so I remained silent." After hesitating for a moment, he spoke cautiously, "Wei Wei. I don't want her to have any regrets, so, can you help me?" I nodded quickly. "Whatever I can do to help, just let me know." Xu Xingqi turned to me, looking directly into my eyes, his gaze resolute. He said, "Marry me. I can sign a prenuptial agreement with you. The project I've been working on recently has applied for a patent, and there should be a substantial income from it. If we divorce, you can have it all if you want. Of course, your things remain yours. You can add your requests and conditions in the agreement. Marriage is no small matter. I don't want to agree, but Aunt Li has been so kind to me. Can I think about it?" With a wry smile and a sense of guilt, he said, "I'm really sorry, Wei Wei. I'm putting you in a difficult position. But I really have no other options." 21. That night, as I lay in bed debating whether to agree, Zhao Siyu called again. "Wei Wei, please come back quickly. Siang and Axi are at each other's throats." I sighed in exasperation. "They're fighting again." Zhao Siyu's voice grew heavier. "If only it were that simple. Siang has poached 3 clients from Aishi consecutively. The profit margins he offered were ridiculously low. It's literally a case of harming the enemy by 1,000 while hurting oneself by 800. Now both sides are in a complete mess. Wei, you know, before you came back, Siang and Aishi were the closest. Their families lived nearby, and they shared the same interests and hobbies. But after you returned, they gradually started to drift apart because of you. You might not have noticed, but Siang, he likes you." It was clear to everyone that Lu Siang had feelings for me, but I couldn't reciprocate those feelings, not to mention his actions towards me when we were young. He knew too much about me and Chen Shi. Over the years, he had witnessed the entanglement between Chen Shi and me. If there was anything more than friendship between him and me, it would become a thorn in his heart. 22. One is an elder with a terminal illness. The other is my childhood friend who went mad for me. It doesn't seem like a difficult decision. I reached out to Lu Siang for the first time. It was clear how happy he was the moment he picked up the phone. He said, "I should have come to pick you up a couple of days ago, but something came up." I interrupted him. "I've heard everything. Siang, don't continue. I hope you both are doing well. You and Chen Shi have been through so much together. It shouldn't end up this strained because of me. By the way, I called to tell you that I'm getting married." He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was a bit hoarse. "To whom?" I replied, "A brother I grew up with here, and also my senior in college. He's very accomplished and has always been very kind to me." Thinking about these days alone with Xu Xingqi, it should be nice to live together respectfully after we get married. The next morning, Xu Xingqi had already prepared breakfast. "Let's go back together to visit your aunt later," I said. He gently placed an egg pancake in my bowl and softly agreed. I pulled out a stool and sat down, continuing, "Oh, and we'll discuss the wedding arrangements with them," with a loud slap. The egg pancake Xu Xingqi was about to, 23, before I was 14. My parents were strangers who only appeared during holidays and festivals. After 14, they became family members who only asked if I had enough money. Do they love me? I think they do. It's just that the 14 years of emotional void have left them unsure of how to get close to me. Every time I see my mom being affectionate with my 5-year younger brother, I console myself with this thought. When I told my mom about my upcoming wedding, she simply asked about the man's conditions and agreed. Chen Shi and I were a recognized couple in the upper-class circle, but now he's making a huge fuss over his little girlfriend, even defying his parents. For a moment, I became the laughingstock. Now that there's a decent young man willing to take over, I think they'd be eager for me to get married soon. The wedding is set for a month and a half from now. My intention was to keep things simple. But Xu Xingqi disagreed. He said that although he couldn't give me a luxurious wedding, I would have everything other brides have. Even if our marriage is just an agreement, it must be said that he is truly extremely thoughtful and thorough. 24. After discussing the wedding, Xingqi Xu drove me home. A blue Pagani Huayra parked at the entrance of the small building. Lu Xiang stepped out of the car, his sharply defined handsome face showing signs of exhaustion. His dark circles were heavy, and even a short stubble had appeared on his chin. It seems he drove all night to get here. He frowned and glanced at Xu Xingqi beside me, then asked me in a deep voice, "Is he the one you're going to marry?" I nodded, and Lu Xiang's expression darkened further. Wei, let's talk." Xu Xingqi left us some space. Lu Xiang watched his retreating figure, his voice forlorn. "Why him?" I tilted my head, thinking for a moment, and replied, "Maybe he just appeared at the right time." "Why him?" "Because Xu Xingqi needed this marriage to ensure his mother wouldn't have any regrets, and I needed this marriage, 1 to fulfill a wish, and 2 to cut off Lu Xiang's lingering thoughts." Lu Xiang suddenly became very agitated. He turned around, gripping my shoulders, his brown eyes filled with pain. "You've liked Axie for so many years. I don't believe you could fall out of love and into another so quickly. If it's because Axie hurt you, you can choose me. You know I like you." I calmly met his gaze. "Xiang, we're not right for each other. From the beginning, our ending was already decided. Not right for each other. What about him? Is he the right one?" Lu Xiang's voice rose, filled with intense anger. I was slightly startled, my mind flashing with images of these days spent with Xu Xingqi. With him, life is simple yet steady. Xu Xingqi doesn't talk much, but every morning when I wake up, breakfast he made for me is already on the table. He wears an apron that doesn't match his demeanor at all, smiling and calling me to wash up and eat. Little pudding wags its tail, circling around him again and again, a man and a dog, forming the steady flow of everyday life. I replied to him with certainty, yes, he's a perfect fit. 25. After Lu Xiang left, I got busy. The wedding date is approaching, and there's a lot to prepare. Zhao Xiyu still messages me from time to time. Without exception, they're all about Chen Shi. He said Chen Shi got drunk and was tricked by Xie Yang, who forced him to take responsibility. The incident escalated significantly and even made the news. It's undeniable that Xie Yang, who seems so pure and innocent, still has some tricks up her sleeve. She's also adept at playing the victim, and public opinion overwhelmingly sides with her. First, his childhood friend stole his clients, and then his publicly acknowledged girlfriend plotted against him, under pressure from all sides. Chen Shi began to drown his sorrows. When he got drunk, he would scream and shout, demanding to see me. No one could persuade him otherwise. Zhao Xiyu pleaded with me, after all these years of feelings. Wei, can't you forgive him just this once? Don't you feel sorry for him like this? I didn't reply. Does it hurt? 12 years. He wasn't unaware of my feelings, giving me hope while juggling others. And who has ever felt sorry for me? Actually, during this time, Chen Shi has added me many times, but I didn't agree. He kept calling me from different numbers, all of which I blocked. Between us, after he kicked me for Xie Yang, we couldn't even be friends anymore. Some hurts are irreversible, the emotions are shattered, and trying to repair them isn't easy. 26. I saw Chen Shi again over a month later. Zhao Xiyu messaged me, saying he was now in the county town here and wanted to meet me on the busiest commercial street, before heading out. I stuffed a stack of invitations into my bag, hoping he could help me distribute them. The wedding with Xu Xingqi is almost ready, and Aunt Li's health is deteriorating day by day, but it's clear that she's truly happy, whether in love or not. At least it's a good deed. Today, the pedestrian street is lined with flower beds overflowing with bright red roses, adorned with ribbons and balloons. Two young girls passed by, chattering away. Wow, is this some rich guy preparing to propose? How incredibly romantic. I heard there's a huge field of roses up ahead, all airlifted in. Someone even saw a small plane this morning. So wealthy. Let's hurry and check it out. The crowd is surging, all heading in the direction where Zhao Siyu arranged to meet me. I frowned, sensing something. A couple of days ago, Zhao Siyu told me that Chen Shi had given Xia Yongyang 5 million as a breakup fee. Seeing no hope of marrying into a wealthy family, she took the money and left. I clutched the strap of my backpack and followed the crowd forward. 27. The place, filled with a sea of roses, as expected, was already surrounded by a crowd 3 layers deep at the intersection next to the cafe where we were supposed to meet. Occasionally, young girls would exclaim, "The guy in the middle holding the flowers is way too handsome. The ones next to him are also so handsome. I like the one on the far right. He seems like he has a story, looks so melancholic." Zhao Siyu was waiting outside the crowd, and when he saw me, he excitedly ran over, pulling me into the throng. "Make way. Make way. Our leading lady has arrived." Soon, the crowd parted on its own, creating a path. At the end of the path stood Chen Shi, nervous yet expectant. Holding a large bouquet of Juliet roses, Zhao Siyu let go of my hand and laughed, pushing me in front of him. "Wei Wei," Chen Shi called out to me, his handsome face tinged with a blush. Amid the cheers of the crowd, he bent his right knee and slowly knelt down. Behind him, all his childhood friends wore smiles of satisfaction, except for Lu Xiang, who stood lazily against the wall on the far right, arms crossed, watching the scene like a spectator. His eyes flickered when he saw me. Then he looked away. Chen Shi coughed lightly and handed the flowers to me. "Wei Wei, I'm sorry. I know what I did recently was really messed up. After you left, I realized how much more important you are to me than I ever imagined. Can you give me another chance? Let me make up for my mistakes." I slightly curved my lips, opened my bag, and pulled out an invitation to hand to him. "Next week I'm getting married. I hope you can come." 28. Chen Shi froze. The expensive rose in his hand falling to the ground, petals scattering. He stammered, "Wei Wei, don't joke about this. It's not funny." I ignored him. I walked past him and handed out the invitations to the others who were equally stunned. "Remember to come to my wedding." The news of my wedding. I only told my parents and Lu Xiang, obviously. They didn't spread it around. Chen Shi suddenly stood up, rushed forward, grabbed all the invitations I had just distributed, tore them up forcefully, and threw them on the ground. He glared at me with red eyes. "Wei Wei, I just said it. This joke isn't funny at all." I didn't expect Chen Shi, once provoked, to be so extreme. He tore up all the invitations in my bag and grabbed my arm, ready to leave. Just a few steps away, a punch landed on his face from behind. He wiped the corner of his mouth, let go of me, and turned to fight with Lu Xiang, who had just thrown the punch. 29. Due to causing a disturbance by fighting, our group was taken to the police station. Over an hour later, Xu Xingqi rushed to the police station to pick someone up after setting up their wedding home. He pulled me around to check, and only after confirming that I wasn't hurt did he relax. "Stay far away from fights in the future. What if you get hurt by accident?" he said seriously, frowning. Suddenly, he remembered finding me hiding and crying as a child, and to cheer me up, he took me to pick wild jujubes. He turned back with the pole, smiling at me. "Brother will knock down some jujubes for you. Stand back so you don't get hurt." I shook my head at him, indicating I was fine. Behind me, Chen Shi spoke hesitantly. "Senior Xu, at the freshman party, Chen Shi has always disliked Xu Xingqi because I called him Xingqi Ji. Later, the two were often compared due to their outstanding looks, and Xu Xingqi usually came out on top. This made Chen Shi even less fond of him." Xu Xingqi pursed his lips, his expression cold. Amham. It was clear that he didn't seem to like Chen Shi either. Chen Shi clenched his hands tightly at his sides, his voice hoarse as he asked, "The one marrying Wei Wei, is it you?" Xu Xingqi adjusted his glasses with a hand, nodding coldly as usual. He didn't waste any more words with him. Instead, lowering his head gently to ask if we could leave. After receiving a positive response, he exchanged a few words with the others and then accompanied me out of the police station. She tried to rush over, but was quickly intercepted by the others. As Zhao Siyu held him tightly, he screamed my name in a hoarse voice from behind. This time, I didn't even pause. 2 days later, She bought the house next door, and the flashy limited edition Koenigsegg parked in front of the dilapidated building looked out of place. He blocks me at the door every day, begging me to give him another chance. I'm so annoyed by him that I scowl and scold him. I'm getting married soon, please stop bothering me. He bites his lip hard, his eyes instantly turning red. After a few minutes, he slowly crouches down, hugging his head and starting to sob. Wei, I know I was wrong. Can you give me another chance? I'm begging you. Why did you marry Xu Xingqi if you don't love him? Please, Wei, please, don't be so cruel. I watched him crouch on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably, but felt nothing inside. Harsh. I don't mind being even harsher. I slightly leaned forward. Sorry, Shi. Your presence makes Xingqi uncomfortable. Let's stop contacting each other for now. The words you gave me, I'm returning them to you, unchanged. 31. The wedding took place as scheduled. My mom came back a day early to see me off on my wedding day. As she watched me put on my wedding dress, the corners of her eyes reddened without her realizing it. For 26 years, it was the first time she hugged me. Wei, I'm sorry, I wasn't a good mother. Live a good life after getting married. Mom doesn't ask for you to be rich and famous, just hopes you can live a safe and peaceful life. So, the reason she agreed so readily wasn't because she was ashamed of me. So, she really did love me. My throat feels sore and swollen. I gently hugged her back, choking out an agreement. Outside the door, a long line of wedding cars stretched out. As I was about to get in the car, I saw She standing outside the door. He was wearing a brand new suit and had made a special effort to dress up. I ignored him, but as I was about to get into the car, he walked over and grabbed my arm. His voice was hoarse, like fine gravel being ground. Wei, are you trying to get back at me? He said with a bitter smile. Don't be childish. Marriage isn't a game. You can punish me however you want, but don't marry someone else. I stopped Xu Xingqi from stepping forward, shook off his hand, brushed off the spot he had touched, and spoke with sarcasm. You're taking yourself way too seriously. If spelling it out is what it takes for you to finally give up, fine. Shi, I don't like you anymore. I hope you stop bothering me from now on. The convoy drove away, and through the rearview mirror, I could still see his lonely figure standing motionless in place. 32. Life didn't change much after the wedding. To make it easier to take care of Aunt Li, we moved back to the small villa. I sleep in the bed, and he sleeps on the floor. As promised before the wedding, he gave me the respect I deserved. Zhao Siyu still occasionally contacts me to chat about daily life and check in on how I'm doing. He never mentions Shi again. I found out about Shi being ousted from the board through the news. Xia Yang is ruthless, but she lacks legal awareness. She copied several bidding documents from Shi and sold them to his competitors. The business world is like a battlefield, and Shi was caught off guard, suffering heavy losses. On top of that, Lu Xiang's recent attacks have caused the company to lose several key clients. Out of necessity, he had to sell off his stocks to cover the shortfall. In the end, he got Xia Yang arrested, and he was no longer the company's largest shareholder. His recent actions had sparked widespread outrage, and he was unanimously voted out during the board meeting. After reading it, I just felt a sense of lament and didn't inquire further. Everyone should be responsible for the decisions they make, right? 33. Aunt Li eventually didn't make it through the winter. Xu Xingqi calmly handled the funeral arrangements. Calmly, it was a bit heartbreaking. He grew up with his mother, so their bond was naturally very strong. Perhaps it was because he didn't have a father that he took such good care of me, since I was bullied for not having my parents around. After over half a year of marriage, I hugged him for the first time. He leaned on my shoulder, sobbing uncontrollably. Wei, I don't have a mother anymore. I gently patted his back, choking back tears to comfort him. I'll be with you from now on, Xingqi Shu, for the rest of our lives. Let's walk this path together, taking care of each other, supporting one another. 34. Xu Xingqi's patent has officially been put on the market, and due to Aunt Li, his return to Beijing has been repeatedly delayed. Now, it's time for us to go back. While packing, Pudding came over and, as if presenting a treasure, placed the diary she was carrying in her mouth in front of me. The diary was still covered in cobwebs, and I had no idea where he had dug it out from. Curiously, I flipped it open to find it filled with the fragmented records of a boy's years-long unrequited love. It turns out that during all those years I was unaware, there was a pure and noble young man who had been quietly in love with me. After finishing packing his things, Xu Xingqi came over to ask if I needed help. Just then, he caught me crouching on the floor, flipping through the diary. "Did you see it all?" he asked. The voice was shy, tinged with a hint of fear. I looked up, forcing back the wetness in my eyes, and smiled at him. "Xu Xingqi, let's have a child." Although our life together hasn't been filled with dramatic highs and lows, marriage is inherently made up of mundane details. Who can say that a quiet, peaceful life isn't real life? Chen Shi side story 1. The first time I met Lin Wei was in the early winter of my 14th year. It had snowed in the capital city just 2 days ago, and the air was crisp and biting. She stepped out of Uncle Lin's car, her black attire looking a bit thin. My mom told me that Uncle Lin's mother-in-law passed away, and their daughter, who was raised in the South and is the same age as me, is being brought back. It must be her. A cold wind blew, making her shiver. From where I stood, I could just make out her swollen eyes. She saw me too, and when I smiled at her, she quickly lowered her head, staring at her toes. Shy and timid, she was nothing like the pampered young ladies I usually hang out with. How to describe her? Like a lost little deer. For the first time, I wanted to take the initiative to approach a girl. "Hello, my name is Chen Shi." She slowly raised her head and whispered, "Hello, my name is Lin Wei." Her voice was melodious, carrying the unique softness of the southern water towns, gentle and obedient. Incredibly pleasant to hear, too. I know Lin Wei likes me, but I'm not sure how I feel about her. We're too close for comfort. They say distance makes the heart grow fonder. But Lin Wei and I have never been apart for a single day since we first met. We went to the same middle school, the same high school, and later, we both got into the same university. The long years have blurred my feelings for her. During college, her friend confessed to me. From childhood to adulthood, many girls have confessed to me, but I never paid attention to any of them. Their voices were overly sweet and not as pleasant as Lin Wei's, but I accepted her friend's confession. I think if Lin Wei likes something, I should be able to like it too. But after that, Lin Wei stopped talking to me, and it hurts. Could it be that she didn't really like that girl? Girls' feelings are so strange. Later, I often changed girlfriends, but I kept it from Lin Wei, afraid she would ignore me again. Those girls were either lively or alluring, but they were all worlds apart from Lin Wei. My Lin Wei has always been gentle and quiet. As for why I dated so many, I just wanted to see if there was anyone else as charming as Lin Wei. The fact is, there isn't. It wasn't until I met Xie Yang that she stirred up all my protective instincts. 3. Xie Yang would look at me with her big, innocent, and timid eyes, sweetly calling me brother Xi. I absolutely love hearing Lin Wei call me brother. Her voice rises slightly at the end, as if it's teasing me, and it's incredibly alluring. She rarely barks. Only when I push her to the limit does she reluctantly let out a small sound, so when I heard him call Xu Xingji, I was furious for days. For me, Xie Yang is like Chen Shi meeting Lin Wei at the age of 14 when he was 26. This is something I only realized after losing Lin Wei. Yes, that's right. I've lost Lin Wei. She left following Lu Xiang, calling me brother for the first time with genuine joy, and for the first time, she left without looking back when I asked her to stay. I was so furious that I smashed everything in the private room, and even added Xie Yang to our group. Even more so, I kicked out Lin Wei. Then I lost her. During those 2 days in the hospital, I often stared at the door, afraid of missing Lin Wei's arrival, but she never showed up. Before this, even a small scratch would make her worry for hours. Back then, I hadn't realized the seriousness of the situation, and my pride wouldn't let me be the first to back down. I miss her so much. For 12 years, this was the first time we were apart. It hurts so much when she's around. I couldn't take it anymore, so I dragged them out for drinks. Naively, I thought that if I got drunk, she would come to pick me up. After all, It had always been like this before. In the end, she still didn't show up, right? Siyu said she went south. So how could she suddenly appear? I miss her. I want to go to her. I want to tell her, Lin Wei, I like you. 5. When I woke up, Xie Yang was sitting beside me, crying. She said I ruined her innocence and I must take responsibility. I was just drunk, not stupid. I know very well whether I did anything or not. I broke up with her a couple of days ago, but I didn't tell the others about it. I never expected them to call Xie Yang over after I got drunk, nor did I expect her to scheme against me. I initially didn't want to pay attention, but I didn't expect her to seek sympathy online. I have to clean up the mess she caused. While Lu Xiang is once again poaching my clients in a suicidal manner, I can only postpone the time to go see her. When I finally got everything sorted out and went to beg her for another chance, I was told she was getting married. The pain was almost suffocating. Was it really a case of one wrong step leading to another? 6. I spent a fortune to buy the house next to hers. Blocking her every day, begging her to give me another chance. No matter how hard I tried to keep her, she never looked back. On her wedding day, I stood at the door, watching her in her white gown get into someone else's wedding car. My Weiwei is truly beautiful. She should have been my bride. As the wedding car drove away, I clutched my chest and curled up on the ground. Losing her hurts so much, it's unbearable. I didn't attend her wedding. I was afraid I might do something out of line if I went. She must blame me for that. I found a local resident and asked him to guide me through all the paths Lin Wei might have taken. I visited the elementary school she attended and tried the street food she mentioned to me. My little girl came to me from here. In the end, it was here that I watched her become someone else's bride. 7. Xie Yang actually played me, and thinking about breaking up with Lin Wei for such a person, I almost want to stab myself. I was pulled down from the position of chairman. And the business empire founded by my grandfather changed hands under my leadership. My father, disappointed in me, sent me to a remote mining mountain. It had been 3 years. It was during the 3rd spring festival that my mother fell ill from missing me too much, and that's when I was called back. Through the carved railing, I saw Lin Wei, whom I had been longing for. She had put on a little weight and was holding a delicate baby. Her eyes and brows bore a resemblance to hers. Xu Xingqi came out of the house with a coat and draped it over her. As he took the child from her arms, he gently chided, "You should have dressed warmer when you came out. What if you catch a cold?" As he spoke, his eyes filled with deep affection as he looked at her. My nose felt sore, and it was as if a ball of cotton was stuck in my throat, making it hard to breathe. It's enough to know she's happy. As for my own happiness, I've long since ruined it. Weiwei. It seems I've never told you I love you. It looks like I won't get the chance anymore. Xu Xingqi Extra. 1. When did I fall for Lin Wei? It seems to be at the university welcome party, where she performed that graceful dance on stage. The red dress swayed, exuding charm and allure. The quiet, tearful girl who always followed me has grown into a graceful young woman during the years I wasn't part of her life. After her performance ended, I went backstage. I had intended to catch up with her. But before I could approach, I saw a very handsome guy walk over to her. He smiled and tousled her hair, his voice full of affection. Our Weiwei today was absolutely stunning. She must have captivated everyone. She nuzzled against his palm like a docile cat. Her big eyes sparkled like stars. With just one glance, I knew she had a crush on that guy. I had intended to turn and leave, but she spotted me. "Xingqi," she called out to me, her sweet and charming voice tinged with uncertainty. After she stopped me, the boy's expression visibly darkened. With a hint of jealousy, he gently pinched and shook the soft flesh on her cheek. "Lin Wei, you're really something. It's as hard as climbing to heaven to get you to call me brother. Yet here you are calling someone else right in front of me." His words seemed playful, but his eyes, fixed on me, carried a clear hostility. Her feelings were mutual. After reaching this conclusion, I should have been happy for her, but instead, I felt an uncontrollable pang of jealousy. Later, I found out that during the years after she left, it was that guy who had been by her side. Oh, that guy is Chen Shi, quite famous, supposedly. He's a top-tier rich kid. My mom said Lin Wei's dad is also extremely wealthy. The young masters and ladies from wealthy families, secretly in love with each other and eventually getting married, could be considered a beautiful story. 2. for years of absence is enough to make us strangers. The campus is vast, and chance encounters are rare, but it's not hard to hear news about her. Students from wealthy families with striking looks always attract special attention. Like her, and like Chen Shi, her photos are everywhere on the school network and confession wall. Most of the time, Chen Shi is by her side, in the photos. She always smiles softly, warm and comforting. Her gaze toward Chen Shi is like a serene autumn lake. I have to admit, she exudes elegance and confidence in every move she makes now. It must be Chen Shi who changed her, making her so cheerful. From her enrollment to my graduation, we didn't have much interaction. I always watched from afar, as a secret admirer. Love is not about possession. Seeing her happy, I should be. Forget it, I'm not that happy. 3. When my mom called, I had just finished organizing a series of data. On the other end of the line, her voice sounded a bit strange. Son, can you come back now? I'm sick. I immediately packed up and rushed back. When I was 3. My father accidentally fell to his death while climbing a mountain. My mother raised me alone, enduring all the hardships. She is the only family I have left in this world. I never expected to see Lin Wei at home. The moment she opened the door and our eyes met, I was completely stunned. My mom winked at me, as if she knew everything. I knew my mom was trying to set us up. After all, I'm already 28 and have never had a girlfriend. I understand her concern. So when she told me her illness was a lie, I actually believed her. I quietly calculated that since the patent application had been approved, all we needed was the certificate. Launching it into the market would be enough to ensure she could continue living a prosperous life. After all, she's the girl I've had in my heart for so many years. I couldn't bear to see her suffer. For, I never expected my mother's illness to be real, let alone terminal. Those days, it felt like the whole world was shrouded in grey. I was troubled in my heart, but I didn't want those around me to notice, so I often sneaked off to smoke in secret. Yet Lin Wei always managed to find me. To prevent my mother from having any regrets, and for my own selfish reasons, I proposed to her. I knew she would say yes, since she's always been a kind-hearted girl, but I didn't expect her to agree so quickly. After the wedding, she offered to move back to take care of my mother. See, the girl I love is both kind and considerate. My mother's health is deteriorating. Those months were the toughest of my life, but thankfully, she was there to support and encourage me. We tried every possible method. But my mother still passed away. I managed to get through the ceremony, but her embrace broke me down. I was terrified, afraid she might bring up divorce. If that happened, I would truly have nothing left. But she didn't. She said she would stay with me. Fortunately, I still have her. Later, we had a lovely daughter. She looked like her. I named her Shu Weiwan. Lin Wei asked me what it meant, and I smiled as I answered her. Reunited with you, and thankfully not too late. Story 2. The new roommate is a cool and handsome guy. Just as I was relieved that the Yanda guy was finally out of my life, I heard his perverted inner thoughts. I really want to develop a special relationship with sister. Sister seems to hate me. I'm a bit sad, but it's okay. I can make her hate me if that's what it takes. Sister smells so good and feels so soft. When the green tea girl who was pursuing him said that I bullied her, on the surface, he looked indignant at evil, but in his heart, damn it. Did she say thank you? When I was sleeping, from the next room, he thought, secret love is really hard. Even if I close my eyes and cover my mouth, it still shows me. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. When I found out that I was being targeted by the Yanda, he had already sent me countless harassing messages, after reporting it to the police several times with no result. My best friend suggested that I find someone to rent with first and move out when the lease expires, but the rental message had been posted for a week, and no one contacted me, except that psycho. That pervert sent harassing messages every day without fail. Baby, why did you eat so little today? Is something bothering you? Baby, why were you talking to a man today? Is something bothering you? Baby, why aren't you ignoring me? Is something bothering you? Thankfully, he only dared to talk big, otherwise I might really go crazy. Knowing that the person on the other side just wanted to stir me up and get my attention, I just ignored him. Seeing that I didn't respond, he sent dozens of explicit photos in a row. He was constantly testing the limits of my patience. Finally, I broke down and cursed. "You damned pervert. Delete these. I don't have money to deal with you. We honest people don't look for trouble. But we're also afraid of it." He had been harassing me for a while, and I had never talked to him. For fear of giving him what he wanted, the damned pervert on the other side finally stopped. Just as I was thinking if I had somehow satisfied him with my scolding, the next second, an Alipay notification, 100,000 yuan transferred. Pure love can't satisfy me anymore, but pure gold can. I like boys who shine, like the god of wealth and Buddha. What could be more appealing to a working stiff like me? I apologized for my earlier offense. What kind of yanda was he? He was clearly my good brother. Although I was tempted, with my high self-control, I still returned the money intact. After all, compared to my life, this little money was nothing. However, I found that I had already been blocked. Just then, my best friend sent a video call. On the video, she looked extremely excited. "Luo, I have to tell you, I found you an amazing roommate." I nodded. "Thanks for your trouble." My finger stopped when I scrolled to a photo of abs, and I frowned. Let's make it clear first. I'm not a pervert. I'm really not a pervert. I just wanted to study the human body structure. Seeing that I was distracted, my best friend's expression also became serious. "Did that pervert send you messages again? Did he send you any inappropriate photos?" I hesitated for a moment, but still sent them to her. The woman who was fierce just now immediately calmed down. Jiu Chi on the video whistled. Her eyes lit up. Yo, it's pink, accept it. If you get a pink-haired handsome guy, no. Such a handsome guy, you must stick to him. Life is boring. I want a super hot pink-haired guy chasing me. Is it too late to be a fan of Lyoku now? You're really starved for excitement. Silly girl. Setting aside the fact that he's a pervert, he really is quite good looking. I never watch motivational videos. But he could be an actor. But rationally speaking, I can't let my guard down. Jiu Chi was really reliable. Less than an hour after that phone call, the amazing roommate she found had already come to my door. I looked up at the tall and thin guy standing at the door, looking at me indifferently with his eyes downcast. He was wearing a black baseball cap and carrying a backpack diagonally. I was a bit confused. "Handsome guy, who are you?" He smiled at me. "I'm the roommate your friend introduced." Looking at his stunningly handsome face, I was stunned for a moment. While he was entering the door, I secretly called my best friend. "Why did you find me a male roommate? And he's so handsome." Didn't she know that I had no resistance to this kind of cool guy in a baseball cap? My best friend on the other end of the phone didn't think much of it. "I was worried about your safety. Coincidentally, my cousin just got kicked out by his girlfriend and needs a place to live. He can take care of you when he's there. Don't worry, he's a black belt in Taekwondo. He can take down a small fry with one punch." I took a deep breath. My mind was full of the handsome face of the man outside. I'm worried about his safety. He's so handsome. I'm afraid I can't control myself. My best friend laughed. "Yuri so shameless. He doesn't like girls. So many girls are chasing him. But I've never seen anyone succeed." Hearing this, I finally relaxed. He's handsome and doesn't like girls. Is there a more perfect doorman in the world? I originally thought his face was perfect enough, but I didn't expect his cooking to be perfect too. Although we didn't talk much, he prepared a rich dinner for me every day, every night after work. Looking at his handsome face, all the fatigue from being tortured by my boss during the day disappeared. As soon as I sat down, he handed me a pair of chopsticks. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing a section of fair skin. His knuckles were pink, my eyelids twitched, and I silently looked away. I took the chopsticks. I remembered Jiu Chi's cousin was named Hanyi. I paused and then said awkwardly, "Xiaoi. Thank you for helping me wash my clothes yesterday. I was so tired from working overtime last night that it was almost 10 o'clock when I got home. After taking a shower, I threw all my dirty clothes into the laundry basket. When I woke up in the morning, I found that the dirty clothes had been washed and hung on the balcony. Thinking about it, it could only be him who helped me. Although I knew he was my best friend's cousin, I still felt a bit embarrassed. He was taken aback. "It's okay. I didn't have many classes yesterday. And seeing that you were so tired, I just did it for you. I mainly want to thank you for taking me in." My cheeks felt a bit hot. "Thank you, but don't do it again next time." He suddenly seemed to realize something, and his ears turned bright red. He lowered his head and said softly, "Sorry, I won't do it again." I waved my hand, pretending not to care. I thought he was just cool, but I didn't expect him to be so innocent under that cool exterior. I have to say, ever since this cool little handsome guy moved in, that damned Yanda has never appeared in my sight again. Not even a harassing message, it's just a bit of a test of my self-control. Every night when I get home from work, he just walks around in front of me in nothing but a bath towel. Every time this happens, a domineering voice rings in my head. "Do you like clean puppies? How about this freshly bathed single dog? Do you like it? Say something." It seems like he's seducing me. Not sure, need to observe more. Who in their right mind prepares dinner for someone while wearing only a bath towel? I subconsciously swallowed my saliva. Trying my best to move my eyes away from his chest, my mind can't stop thinking, why is everything about him pink? I'm too embarrassed to say anything or ask. I've been abiding by female virtues for over 20 years, and now I'm almost losing it. But all this is meaningless, after all. We're like from different worlds. Enough, wake up. His target audience is those white-socked sports students, not a woman like me who's as independent as an eagle. I became a 9 to 5 working stiff again. Half asleep, I suddenly realized I was going to be late. I woke up with a start, but then I found out that there was still over an hour until my alarm went off. I felt so relieved. No one can understand the feeling of waking up and realizing you can still sleep for a long time. I went back to sleep contentedly. Vaguely, that low and hoarse voice came to my ears again. "Just woke up. I really want to ask sister if she wants to be my girlfriend. My mind is so fuzzy, it would be easy to get her to agree. I really want to develop a special relationship with sister. Sister seems to hate me. She always avoids my gaze. I'm a bit sad, but it's okay. I can make her hate me. Sister smells so good and feels so soft. I really want to be sister's puppy." I turned over and couldn't help complaining that the soundproofing of this rental house was so bad. The neighbor's voice was so low, but I could still hear it. As a result, when I went out in the morning, I looked at the 70-year-old uncle next door in a strange way. "Guys, someone please understand, I'm traumatized by the sister thing." On the subway during the morning rush hour, there were all kinds of strange smells, and the air was so stuffy that it was hard to breathe. I was huddled in Han Yi's arms, unable to move. My nose was filled with the smell of his sandalwood perfume. Han Yi propped his hand against the wall, afraid of squeezing me. I looked up at Han Yi and couldn't help thanking him. "Xiaoyi, thank you so much, otherwise, I'd probably be scolded to death by my boss today. I was in such a hurry this morning that I left home without checking the work group. It was his call that made me realize I had forgotten to bring my documents." He lowered his head and smiled at me. Just as he was about to say something, his body suddenly swayed. I was hugged tightly by him. He said sorry in a flustered voice, and his ears were so red that they seemed about to drip blood. I waved my hand, finding it funny. So innocent. I suddenly realized that by coming to the subway station to give me the documents, would he be too late to go back to school? He seemed to see what I was thinking and spoke first. "It's okay. I got it for you on the way. It's no trouble." I nodded in understanding. My attention was completely drawn to his abs. Observing his strong muscle lines up close was even more wonderful. He looks tall and thin, but I didn't expect his body to be so good. My eyes couldn't help but glance at his waist and abdomen. As he raised his hand, the muscles hidden under his clothes were faintly visible. The scorching breath from his body rushed to my nose. It almost made me lose my mind. Just looking at his waistline, I could tell he was really strong. It was not until he got off at his station that I let out a sigh of relief. He waved at me with a shy smile. "Goodbye, sister." I was so charmed by this sister that my whole body went limp. Damn, so sweet. Before that, for a moment, I suspected that the voice I heard this morning was Han Yi's, but compared to that, his voice was much sweeter than that person's. To thank Han Yi, after work, I went to the supermarket and bought a lot of things he might like. I planned to cook a meal myself to thank him tonight. Unexpectedly, I happened to meet him on the way home. He was still dressed in black, with a black baseball cap on. But he seemed to be a bit flushed. His whole face was tinged with a faint red. A very beautiful girl was grabbing his clothes, her eyes red, and she wouldn't let go. This was probably a confession scene I was witnessing. I stopped in embarrassment. I originally planned to pretend not to see them. Unexpectedly, Han Yi called out to me as if he had seen a savior. Sister. He walked up to me in a few steps and took the big and small plastic bags in my hands. His eyes also started to turn red. Sister. Why didn't you say hello when you saw me? Tears clung to his eyelashes, as if they were about to fall the next second. It seemed that he was bullied badly by that girl. My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly turned my head, not daring to look at him. Looking at him any longer, I might go crazy. The beautiful girl also came up and tugged at Han Yi's clothes. Senior, have you been listening to me? Tomorrow, a university is holding a dance party. Please go with me. Or I'll tell her what I accidentally found out. A university. Hearing this, I was a bit surprised. A university. Are you guys from a university too? The girl pressed herself against Han Yi, with a victorious smile on her lips. Of course, Auntie. Do you have something to do? Why are you holding on to my brother? What, Auntie? At this moment, I couldn't hear anything else. All I could hear in my ears was that Auntie. I subconsciously touched my face. No way, I graduated just 2 years ago. And have I been so worn out by society that a junior calls me Auntie? I forced a slightly embarrassed laugh. What a coincidence. I graduated from the same school as you. But the girl sneered, with an inexplicable hostility in her eyes. I know you. Hearing this, I immediately forgave her low EQ comment. In college, I was a loner and never interacted with anyone. It was not until my junior year that I met Ji Chi, the ultimate social butterfly. According to her, she thought I was like an NPC and was fun to play with. I never thought that someone as unremarkable as me would be recognized by a junior. I felt warm in my heart for a moment. However, what the junior said next sent me to the depths of an ice cellar. Aren't you the one who bullied me? What the hell? No, girl, this is really a huge false accusation. I was just about to ask her to clarify when the junior rolled her eyes at me and turned her back, not wanting to look at me. Me, she accused Han Yi. Why did you call her sister just now? Don't you know she bullied me before? I found it a bit funny and crossed my arms, quietly watching her act. The smile on Han Yi's face froze, and his expression became a bit strange, but his tone was still gentle. Sister bullied you? No, that's impossible. How did she bully you? She slapped me and stepped on me with her feet. After hearing this, Han Yi's face turned a bit ugly, and he gave me an ambiguous look. I felt creepy being looked at like this, afraid that he might misunderstand. I was about to explain, but then I heard that cold inner voice again. Damn it, did she say thank you? I'm so sad. Why did sister reward her? What? I subconsciously glanced at Han Yi, and he had a righteous look on his face. I don't believe that sister would do such a thing. Please don't slander people casually. Of course, if sister really did such a thing, I won't forgive her either. I looked around but didn't see the old neighbor man. I couldn't help but fall silent. Could it really be Han Yi? The moment this guess popped up in my mind, I immediately rejected it. No, it's impossible. Han Yi doesn't seem that perverted. Did I hear it wrong? Not sure, need to listen more. However, that voice didn't appear again. The next second, the old neighbor man led his wife past in front of us. I couldn't hold it in. God, do you have something on your mind? Why make me hear the old man's inner thoughts? Are you not satisfied with how the world already is? I let out a long sigh of resentment and saw that Han Yi had already the girl's hand. He frowned and took several steps back. So, can you leave now? Your stalking behavior is really scary. If you continue like this, I'll call the police. The girl didn't expect Han Yi to say that. Her face instantly turned red with shame and anger, and she ran away. Before leaving, she gave me a fierce glare. Han Yi's long eyelashes trembled uneasily, and he looked at me a bit nervously. Sorry, I made you laugh. I waved my hand indifferently. I was indignant about him being stalked by the girl. All stalkers in this world deserve to die. Then I heard him ask me curiously, has sister also experienced something bad? I sneered. He's a pervert. On the way home, Han Yi listened to me complaining a lot about that Yanda guy. Our relationship became much closer instantly. However, the atmosphere became a bit awkward after I received a call from home. Han Yi looked up, his face still slightly red. Sister, why do you look so bad? Is there some trouble? I slumped on the sofa, feeling tired. It's nothing. My family wants me to go on a blind date. The smile that had been on Han Yi's face froze. A blind date. If sister doesn't want to go, you can find an excuse to decline. I sighed and shook my head helplessly. My mom has already made the decision for me and even booked a restaurant. She said if I don't go, I'm not allowed to go home for the new year. Han Yi was taken aback and stood silently at the entrance without speaking. I felt a bit apologetic. I probably won't be able to have dinner with you tomorrow. We had just agreed that I would accompany him to the dance tomorrow. But then this blind date came up. A hint of sadness flashed across his face, but he quickly shook his head. It's okay, sister's business is more important. I was almost moved to tears. Han Yi is such a nice guy. The blind date partner was a finance guy. In just a few minutes, he had looked at his Cartier watch more than 10 times. His patronizing remarks made me extremely uncomfortable. Women should be cherished. I think you can get to know me on a deeper level. I think you're quite pretty. Leave me your contact information later. Also, I'd like to give a little suggestion. Please put on some makeup before meeting me next time. It's basic courtesy between people who can understand. I felt harassed. I really wanted to give him some of my self-esteem. I couldn't help but look down at my phone. I found that there were more than 20 unread messages. They were messages sent by that damned pervert 10 minutes ago. Baby, have I ever told you not to anger me? Why are you having dinner with a strange man? What are you talking about? Why are you laughing so happily? Isn't it nice to stay at home obediently? I know there's another man in your house. If I don't see you home before I get to your place, guess what will happen? I didn't know. I didn't dare to know either. I only knew that what this damned pervert said didn't seem like a joke. I didn't dare to take the risk. Without having time to say sorry to the man across from me, I rushed out of the restaurant. I ran home as fast as I could, but when I got to the door, I hesitated. My heart suddenly tightened, and my face turned deathly pale. I was too scared to speak. I was afraid of what I might see when I opened the door. My hands were shaking as I tried to unlock the door, but the door was opened from the inside. Seeing Han Yi standing in front of me safe and sound, the tense nerves in my body finally relaxed. I grabbed his arm, gasping for breath. Are you okay? He lowered his eyes and stared at me expressionlessly. I was slightly stunned. Han Yi seemed so strange. I couldn't read the expression on his face, and his voice was a bit cold. Is sister afraid that something might happen to me? It's strange. I was staying at home peacefully. How could something happen? Why would sister say that? Did someone tell you something? I wasn't sure if it was just my imagination, but his voice now was exactly the same as the inner thoughts I heard a few days ago. I stared at him blankly. He raised his hand to block his cold gaze, and his tone returned to its usual gentleness. He seemed a bit apologetic. Sorry, sister, I'm just a little sad. Sad. A hint of confusion flashed in my eyes. I felt really strange. Sad that sister would rather have dinner with a blind date partner than with me. After hearing this, I forced a smile. So that's it. He was just angry that I didn't accompany him tonight. But was that really the case? After returning to my room, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to fall asleep. Han Yi just now made me feel extremely uncomfortable for some reason, but I couldn't exactly tell what was wrong with him. While I was lost in thought, Ji Yuqi suddenly sent me a message. Cheng Luo, do you never want to talk to me again in this lifetime? It should be 9 o'clock in the morning on Ji Yuqi's side. Today is the weekend. Usually, she should still be sleeping at this time. I sent a message to tease her. It's a rare sight. Miss Ji Yu is up so early today. Ji Yuqi was almost angered into laughter. It's all because you ignored me. I was so sad that I didn't sleep all night. I ignored you. I was very confused. When did I ignore you? Ji Yuqi sent me a screenshot of our chat. On the screenshot, she sent a lot of sorry emojis. At first, I was a bit puzzled. But when I saw the following words, my eyes widened in shock. I almost dropped my phone. Luo Luo, I'm really sorry. I just found out that my damned lovesick cousin didn't go to see you at all yesterday. I've given him a good scolding. Don't worry, this time, I will definitely find you a reliable roommate to rent with. Damn it. Why didn't I see this message? I went through the chat history and was very certain that there was no such message in my phone. Woo woo. You haven't replied to my messages for several days. I was worried that something had happened to you. I almost flew back to the country several times. I was relieved only after my cousin went to your workplace and saw that you were safe. Knowing that you just didn't want to reply to me on purpose makes me want to cry even more. Ji said that I hadn't replied to her messages since that day. I couldn't help but be suspicious. How could that be, since Ji went abroad to study? We gradually had less contact because of the time difference, but as long as I saw her messages, I definitely wouldn't not reply, and I definitely wouldn't delete the chat history. The only possibility was that someone had secretly deleted my chat history. I couldn't help but feel a chill down my spine. My hands were shaking as I sent a message to Ji. Baby, can you screenshot all the messages you sent me these days? Soon, Ji sent more than 20 pages of chat screenshots. In these more than 20 pages of screenshots, I didn't reply to any of them. Calculating the time, Ji sent messages mostly in the afternoon after 1 or 2 o'clock, and it was already early morning on my side. Generally, I would reply to Ji's messages after getting up the next day, but I hadn't replied to any of her messages for a whole week. Ji even said that I had blocked her phone number. I checked the blacklist. Sure enough, as she said, I had blocked Ji. That means that during the time I was sleeping, someone secretly deleted my chat history with Ji and blocked her phone number. And the only person I could suspect was Han, who was currently living under the same roof with me. I had a bad feeling. With a solemn expression, I confirmed the fact again. You mean Han didn't come to my place to find me at all? Ji seemed a bit guilty. That day, he was about to leave with his suitcase when his girlfriend caught him and dragged him back. So, Han didn't come to find me. So, who is my current roommate? I suddenly realized that I always put my documents on the small table in my bedroom. How could Han frequently notice that I forgot to take them? A university and my company are not on the way either. I had a terrifying guess. Maybe Han was Dash, that Yanda who had been following me all the time. I remembered that day when he brought me the documents. I hadn't even had time to send him my real-time location. Han quickly and accurately found the location where I was. At that time, I was very surprised. He told me it was a telepathic connection. Now that I think about it, I have a bad premonition. Before going to bed, I deleted my chat history with Ji. The next day, I specially took a day off and went to a university. After asking around, I found the girl who had pestered Han last time. She leaned against the door and sneered, "I've given you all the photos. If I hear even a single rumor about me from others, I won't let you go." Han appeared quite frequently in the photos. Indeed, as he said, the girl was stalking him. However, to my surprise, in every photo where he appeared, I was also in the picture. Before I left, the girl smiled at me mockingly. "Senior, it seems you've been targeted by a pervert." My vision went dark, and I felt a sudden difficulty in breathing. I knew that he might be following me silently behind my back at this moment. Or maybe he was at home, sniffing my clothes, but I had more important things to do now. I started to investigate all his information. He was handsome and rich. He won scholarships easily. He was a popular figure on campus but very cold. He moved out of the dormitory as early as his freshman year and lived in an apartment bought by his family. However, this rich, handsome, and talented male god was willing to squeeze into an 80-square-meter rental house with me. He even took the time to prepare dinner for me and keep the house spotless. I wouldn't believe it if he had no ulterior motives. I couldn't help but shiver, forcibly suppressing my fear. I found a nearby mobile phone repair shop. The result was that there was indeed a positioning software. Looking at the messy, coded file in the system folder, I felt a sense of nausea. The store manager asked me if I wanted to uninstall it. I shook my head with a solemn expression. To confirm if the person who downloaded the software was Han, I took a taxi to the nearest hotel. Sitting on the big bed in the suite, I thought a lot. I thought that if it was really Han, I must scold him severely and then kick him out of my house. But when Han really appeared in front of me, I suddenly felt a sense of panic for no reason. But soon, anger replaced fear. I couldn't help but reach out and slap him in the face. Han was slapped to the side. There was a moment of confusion on his face, but soon he licked his lips and stared at me affectionately. He was so excited that his body was shaking, and his eyes were filled with lingering smiles. But the words he said made my hair stand on end. "Do you want him to die? Tell me who that bastard inside is." I was so angry that my whole body was shaking. "Who the hell are you? Are you the pervert who has been pestering me all this time?" His body trembled, his eyes suddenly lit up. He held my hand and kissed my palm again and again. So sister has found out. After that day, he completely stopped pretending. He threatened me with Gu-Chi, not allowing me to escape, not allowing me to leave his sight. At first, I didn't believe him and always secretly did some small things. But Gu-Chi told me that there had been robberies and shootings near her recently. I comforted her to lock the doors and windows at night and come back to the country if necessary. I suddenly realized that Shuyi wasn't joking. My mind was full of the excited look on his face that day. At that time, I was blinded by anger. And in that moment of confusion, he confessed his love to me. He said his name was Shuyi, and he had noticed me a long time ago. At first, he saw that I was targeted by bully guy and wanted to protect me. So he followed me every day. But later, his purpose gradually became impure. He started to want to know what I ate every day and who I talked to. He said, "The day I realized you wanted to get rid of me, my heart hurt so much that I almost wanted to die. But when I saw that you couldn't find a roommate to rent with, you have no idea how excited I was. I miss you so much that I'm almost going crazy." Although he pretends to be normal, he would prepare the documents I need for the day and put them beside my pillow before leaving in the morning. He would also fold the clothes I'm going to wear and place them next to me, and he would attentively prepare every meal for me. But inside, he's already rotten. Every morning when I wake up, I can smell the sandalwood fragrance of his on the quilt. Thinking of this, I angrily knocked the chopsticks he handed me to the ground, but he just chuckled and affectionately kissed my face. It seems that every emotion I show towards him makes him extremely pleased. Closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and went back to my room. I have nothing in common with a pervert. Shuyi realized that I stopped communicating with him. He started to frequently seduce me with his body. Every day, I could see him walking around in front of me shirtless, trying all kinds of ways to cook various dishes for me. But I remained unmoved. Finally, after a week of Cold War, he became docile. He started to reduce the chances of meeting me. Only at night when we slept would he carefully hug me. Recently, I noticed that Shuyi often held a small box with a strange expression, which caught my attention. After he left, I found a box with a combination lock in his room. I tried entering Shuyi's birthday and mine, but neither worked. When I entered the date when Shuyi first moved into my house, the box unexpectedly opened. The moment it opened, my face turned red with anger. Inside were the clothes I had accidentally lost these days. The sheer fabric made me blush with embarrassment. I kind of wanted to go crazy at him, but I was also afraid of pleasing him. I was so angry that my teeth were itching. I pulled out the clothes, and at the bottom of the box, I found a notebook. The first few pages were nothing special, just filled with my name. It was not until I turned a few more pages that I gradually realized something was wrong. The notebook recorded every day after we met, and each page was accompanied by a photo of my back. There's a strange woman who has been following me recently. When I look in her direction, she would pretend not to notice and walk past me as if nothing had happened. Is she stalking me? She gradually piqued my curiosity. Every day, I would turn my head to see if my tail was following me. This state only lasted for half a year. That day, as usual, I slowed down and deliberately went to the place where she usually appeared, but to my disappointment, she was gone. My little tail didn't follow me anymore. She no longer appeared in my sight. I met that strange woman again a week later. She's really stupid. She didn't even notice that someone was following her. If I hadn't been there, those hooligans might have eaten her alive. It turns out she's a senior 2 years older than me. I've written her name on paper countless times. And her photo has been dirted by me again and again. The way she eats is like a guinea pig. Her bulging cheeks make me want to take a bite. There's also a strange woman beside her. They huddled together, not knowing what they were talking about, and laughing happily. So the reason she didn't show up was because of this woman named Gu-Chi. I started to feel a bit jealous of her. Her gaze, her emotions, everything about her should only belong to me. I was insanely jealous every day. Fortunately, that woman went abroad to study, and she was alone again. It should be like this, only I should be by her side. Seeing her busy and tired from work, with fatigue showing in her eyes, I couldn't help but feel a bit heartbroken. This kind of peaceful yet interesting life lasted for a long time. I never felt bored. Every time, I could discover more interesting things about her. Like now, it seems she's noticed me. She started to frequently shake me off and deliberately go to crowded places. At first, this move of hers made me heartbroken, but later, I somehow found it interesting. I could feel her fearful eyes, scared tears, and trembling breaths behind the door. It all made my heart tremble. It's so beautiful, her breakdown, her trembling, her fear. All her emotions were because of me. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep every night. I really wanted to kiss her, and also really wanted to. I couldn't bear to read any further at this point. My face was completely red. And I tried my best to control the heaving of my chest. I closed the notebook with a snap. Shuyi is really a lunatic. I quietly put it back, smoothed the wrinkles on his bedsheet, and made sure there was no trace of me left in the whole room before leaving with relief. Since Shuyi's true identity was revealed, he would hand me a glass of milk every night. He said it was good for sleep. At first, I was cautious and never drank it, but later, I gradually let down my guard. Every time he handed me the milk, I would drink it all up. Today was no exception. But today, the milk tasted strange. It was a bit bitter. I don't know what Shuyi put in it for me. I started to feel my eyelids getting heavy, and my body stiffened, unable to move at all. I couldn't help but want to sleep. I realized that there might be something bad added to the milk. I quickly ran back to my room and locked the door. Then I closed my heavy eyelids with relief. I didn't sleep soundly. My mind was full of his ferocious and distorted face. I was so scared by this image that I was wide awake. I don't know how long it passed, but my mood became a bit impatient. I couldn't help but take out my phone to look at the text message he sent me not long ago. Only then did I relax my tense nerves and chuckle. He threatened me not to escape, not to leave his sight. But he seemed not to know. I don't want to escape at all. How could I easily let go of the little fish I caught myself? Of course, I know every little move he makes behind my back. Long before moving in here, I installed cameras in every corner of this room, every night. His uncontrollable affection was fully captured by me. The tears he couldn't help shedding when he was deeply in love made his beautiful face even more attractive. So cute. He thought he was hiding well. Little did he know that he had already fallen into the tight net I set up for him. This is the best located house near the company. How could I not find a roommate to rent with? And there's no such thing as mind reading. It's just that I could read the dark thoughts from his expressionless face. As for those hooligans, they were just means to attract him. Jiu Chi once asked me what I would do if he didn't take the bait. I only remember saying that if I love someone, I would lock him up, feed him through the small hole in the door until he falls in love with me. Locked up, he would be mine. Even if he's not mine, at least he can't be someone else's. Fortunately, he's mine. I'm twisted. I like the feeling of being monitored by him. I need his constant attention. Passionate, crazy, and extremely painful love gives me a sense of security. I admit that I'm also a lunatic. Extreme possessiveness can make me feel loved. He's so innocent. How could I let go of someone as innocent as him? The familiar sound of footsteps came from outside the door again. I knew he was coming. I put away the phone through which I was spying on him and closed my eyes to pretend to be asleep. I felt him lying down beside me and hugging me. My heart was pounding with excitement. So cute. When I found out that I was targeted by a Yanda, she's been working very hard recently. I felt heartbroken seeing her like this. I secretly put a nutritional tablet in her milk, but it seems she thought too much. The expression on her face when she deliberately pretended not to notice is really cute. Since she likes it, it wouldn't hurt to play along with her. I pressed off the phone screen.